All right, well, welcome back to our intermission segment where we're catching up with past Flyers. And in this period, we're joined by Jared Festler. Jared, welcome to our intermission segment.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, you were number 11 and you were involved in the first three state tournament teams that went down from Little Falls. So talk a little bit about growing up playing hockey in Little Falls and what that was like.
You know, growing up in Little Falls, small community, we had a few more numbers than we do now, but still small. It was good. It was, everybody on the team was your friend. You not only played, maybe hockey with them, you played baseball, football, basketball, all the different sports growing up. You kind of became, a friendship that still lasts, you just never lost. So, not only that, growing up, in a small community, you have the same coaches that coach at the same levels. You start with Cook down in Ice Mice, and then Verdanez, and then you had Rick Parker and John Hanowski and the Solums, and then you get up to Kucher, Stark, and Majurley up in high school, and they were all on the same page. They got you to play what they wanted, I should say, as far as systems, and they kind of ran the same stuff. They got you to develop, so then when you got to high school, you knew it in the back of your mind what you were going to do in all situations, and you didn't have to really go over that in practice as much as you should have. So playing here, and then obviously small community, the fans are great. Everybody is reading the newspaper, everybody knows everybody, and it's kind of nice to walk around and everybody knows a little piece about you. So it was really nice growing up.
Talk a little bit about winning that first section championship game over Wadena back in 2005. What do you remember about that whole experience?
So as freshman year, my brother was a senior. That was, I think, more memorable. Just being a part to play with him. They were so close in the years past of winning a section title, and just to be able to do it finally. And when we won, our city, our town came together. Like I was telling you earlier, it's just the amount of support that we got in the hockey community that year was unbelievable. We had T-shirts from every different company. We had little memorabilia stuff. We had sweatshirts. We had a banner. We had a police escort. We had all kinds of things that you dream of when you're younger. And then to win the section final, obviously, was a cherry on top. And then make it to this state tournament game. To be bussed down there, and then we had the banquet, and we got to see all the different teams, and no one has experienced that, and so we were the first ones, and then to step out on the Excel sheet for the first time was unbelievable. I was blinded by the lights when I stepped out there, so it was a big sheet of ice. It was just the atmosphere was great. The band was there, half of our town was there. It was awesome.
So a lot was made of the fact that the bus stopped at the Dairy Queen on the way to the state tournament 2 years ago. Did it stop at the Dairy Queen on that first year too?
It did. The Dairy Queen has always been a tradition. I don't know why. It just is. You think that it would be after the hockey games, not before them. But Dairy Queen has always been a tradition. I've always been a dessert king. I remember even after my junior year of losing out in the state tournament, we went to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I didn't order any good food. I put ice cream on my plate, wrapped around, and that's all I ate. So it's always been a thing for me, I guess. But yeah, it's a good tradition to keep. So.
It is a good tradition. Yeah. So on that first team back in 2005, you said you were a freshman. My understanding is you were on what they called the baby line.
Yep.
And have you had some unique nicknames for your lines going through your playing career?
Not really. I would say that the baby line was the only nickname as a line. It was two freshmen and a sophomore. So we were all freshly up in high school, and we were all pretty small. We were all 5'9", maybe 5'10" was one, but we were. Yeah, the baby line. I mean, we didn't have facial hair. We didn't have anything like that. So it was, but we grew up playing together every single year, so it was it was just something that we could keep, and we're just glad that we could contribute as a young group, as a young line, and help the seniors, the Lichties, and my brother, and those guys make it to the state tournament.
So you got back 2 more years to that state tournament. What do you remember about those 2 years?
The second year, was the same thing. We've been there before. We didn't have a very good experience as far as at the XL the first year, but we came in. We were we were ready. We were more prepared the second year. I think the first year we were kind of more in awe. Second year we were more prepared. We played. We got drafted, we picked a not as high quality team to play at the beginning, so we ended up winning, which was great to win there, and then you get to play the rest of the games at the XL. So, we came in and we lost in the 3rd place game. But yeah, that year was good. My junior year, we were pretty good, solid squad that year. As far as getting there, we drew Hermantown, which was number 1. Right. Don't know why, we're still a little bummed that we didn't get seeded. We were a pretty good squad that year. We scrimmaged Hermantown earlier in the year and, tied them. So we came in, we were winning 3-2 going into the 3rd, but I think we ran out of gas a little bit. We were playing 2 lines. Hermantown always has some more depth than most teams. So we ran out of gas, ended up losing 6-3 with, I think it was 1 or 2 empty netters, or I think it was 1. And then we went into Mariucci, and we'll just say we might set the state tournament record for penalty minutes that game. I'm not really sure. We were it seemed like we were on the penalty kill the whole time. So I ended up going 2-0 that year, but it's still memorable. So.
Yeah. Well, there's not that many. There's a lot of hockey players in the state, but not that many that make it to the X, and so to make it 3 years in a row, that's quite the accomplishment as a player.
Yeah.
So you went on from there and went on to play junior hockey and the USHLs. Talk a little bit about that experience, what that was like.
Yeah, so I decided it was a tough decision. I met with my St. Cloud coach, my juniors coach from Lincoln, Nebraska, and Kuchar all in 1 week. Decided to forego my senior year here and move down to Lincoln, Nebraska, where I play in the USHL. It was a big decision, but it was the right hockey career move. Looking back on it, yes, it would have been great to play in another state tournament, but the schedule that we had played in high school wasn't making us compete every game. There was, even in my junior year, there was probably, I would say 80% of the games we weren't really playing the 3rd period. Going down to Lincoln, Nebraska was a new experience. I went to a new school. I had to go to school for half the day, then we go to practice for half the day. Their rink was similar to St. Cloud's, I would say. They held about 5,000 people. It was full every single time. They had a nice light up star that came down from the ceiling and blew smoke and lit up, and it was pretty cool place to play. As far as the hockey, obviously, competition-wise, it was very good. It was, a lot of guys that I went on to play college against, and a lot of them that went on to the NHL. So, as far as my experience down there, it was a good one as far as the hockey standpoint was, and it was just one of those stepping stones that you needed to take to get to college.
Sure. And so, were you already committed to play at St. Cloud then before you left to go play juniors?
Yes, I committed, I think it was September of my junior year.
And who was the coach at St. Cloud at that point?
So it was Bob.
It was Bob.
Yep. So Eric Rude was the assistant coach that technically recruited me, and then Bob was the head coach at that time. It was his first year, I believe.
What was that recruiting process like?
It wasn't a ton because when I grew up, I had a teacher, my third grade teacher, Miss Gracky. She was a big St. Cloud State fan, and she took me to some of the games growing up, and I fell in love with St. Cloud. So it was kind of a no-brainer that I'd be there if they offered. But it was realistically walked in. They obviously showed interest. We went to a game. The coach had a sit-down meeting with me. He talked out of 2 hours. He talked about an hour and 59 minutes. And by the end of it, yes, we showed back up with St. Cloud State gear. So it wasn't a long process, but it was something that I've always dreamed about going to because I grew up loving it. So.
Cool. So you played at St. Cloud obviously in a time that really built the foundation for the success that program has is going through right now. Your years kind of turned the corner, so to speak, I think, for a lot of that success. What was playing at St. Cloud like, and being able to play so close to home for you?
It was great. After going to Nebraska and being 8.5 hours away from home, we had it. My parents would travel down a bunch and stuff like that. But when you're at St. Cloud, you're 30 minutes, and the amount of Flyer fans that come to watch and support you, it's really nice. And then just as far as the hockey standpoint, coming into St. Cloud State, they were starting to get on the map. Bob did a very good job of recruiting and getting players in. And it wasn't, like the U of M days where they would try and get, top picks of the NHL draft, every single one of them. He put together a team is what he did. A team that could compete, and it wasn't all, grade A players. So playing there was great. It was a family. It was more like a family when we were there too. All the kids, we all hung out together. That's all we did, is spend time with each other. And then as far as the hockey side, obviously coming in freshman year, we had some expectations, and then sophomore year was our first year that St. Cloud State won an NCAA, game. So, we did the stepping stone, and then, a kid that Drew LeBlanc that I graduated technically with, or he came in at the same year, ended up redshirting because he broke his leg one year, but, he ends up winning the Hobie. So, just different parts like that, and we got to go down to Florida together and win a tournament. So it was a really fun group, and it was a really fun experience. Going from Little Falls, where you have your hometown and everybody's on board, and then going to Lincoln, where it's more of everyone knows they're there for a year, so it's not as much of a family, and then coming into college and getting that family back was really great.
Is there one experience that just really stands out to you from your time in St. Cloud, or one game?
One game. I would say probably our Florida tournament. It was the only tournament that we traveled. We got to go down over Christmas break, which usually we're sitting in the dorms or sitting in our houses for the 3 weeks that no one has school.
Sure.
So we got to go down to Florida. We flew down. We got to play, it was 2 games. We ended up winning them both, won the tournament. And then, just being able to, we got to go to the beach, we got to golf, we did a lot of things down there. That was a really fun experience, and it was just our team and our family. So.
Very cool. So there's a Flyer jersey hanging over your shoulders there. What did it mean to you to put that Flyer jersey on?
It meant a lot, obviously growing up, started hockey when I was 4, and then every year, obviously your parents bringing you to the high school games or older kids games, and you get to play, and you always look back at like the Mario Philippi's and the Dobuses and all the guys that when you were growing up, those were the stars, and being able to get to that level and put on the Flyer jersey, especially the first time, meant a lot. That was something you look forward to your whole life. Yeah. And it represents our town and our community, and people just sometimes see, a jersey, but it means so much more to us as hockey players.
Very cool. Well, Jared, thank you so much for joining us for this intermission segment, and we look forward to seeing you around the rink and for years to come.
Sounds good, Mark. Thank you.
Thank